So we go from the 1800s to the 1920s, and the Great Migration. Pittsburgh, for a city of its size, is as much of a chocolate city. Like, we think about all the different music, the literature. There's so much. The Pittsburgh Courier was really one of the main Black newspapers that was like, come to the north. And 4 million people moved from the South up north in the hopes of finding that warmth of other suns. 4.5 million African Americans between 1910 and 1960. And I wanted to make sure to mark Pittsburgh's important role in the Great Migration. The way that this particular story came about was at the Heinz History Center and reading oral histories from a quilt exhibition. And in this quilting exhibition, one of the directors of the Heinz History Center actually interviewed all of the quilters. So there were oral histories from all the quilters, and the first one I read was a story about this quilter whose family had to escape from the South immediately because her father was accused of a crime he didn't commit, and they were going to lynch him. And so the family packed up as much as they could and just fled. And so in the exhibit, you see a mother and 2 girls and a quilt. And that kind of represents them leaving with whatever they could, obviously taking the family quilt with them. And the mother is actually wearing like a cameo brooch that shows the silhouette of the dad and the route up north, with Pittsburgh being marked where his eye would be in the cameo. So I wanted to note that important element of our history. So next up is the coal miner. It's actually based on my grandfather, Thaddeus Mosley Sr., who began coal mining at the age of 16. I unfortunately never met him. He passed on before I was born, and I think primarily because he was a coal miner since the age of 16. It's not a long, not usually. And I actually found out at the opening of the show that my dad is the first person that he knows, first man that he knows in his family that wasn't a coal miner, which I think is really fascinating. So my grandfather, in addition to being a coal miner, being an avid gardener and an avid reader, he also was a union organizer. And there's the Mosley folklore of his work as a union organizer, which unfortunately also included intimidation tactics by the mine owners, which included armed individuals shooting at the house where my grandparents and my dad and his siblings lived. So my dad and his siblings would hide under the bed while the family house was being shot at. And my grandfather would shoot out the front of the house, and my grandmother would shoot out the kitchen versus the back window. And I had one aunt who had shrapnel in her leg her whole life, who actually got shot under the bed. So it also leads to, in addition to marking our connection to coal mining and the industry of Pittsburgh, it also marks the importance of Black folks involved in the labor union movement. So I wanted to acknowledge and honor my grandfather while also acknowledging our history and heritage in the coal mining industry, as well as being supportive of the workers.